Okay, hey Melissa.
Hi, Amy.
Hey Melissa. It is day 3 of IDA.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm chugging along.
Oh, I thought you were chugging something else. I was like,
No, I don't
what?
chug
chugging my
anything,
coffee.
but I am so tired.
So, do you want to hear a story before we start our new guest? I set the smoke alarm off in our hotel this morning.
You win.
I win.
Yes,
you
Yay!
win.
I
You have to leave with a bang.
it was my hair dryer because I'm from Texas and I'm used to making my hair nice and big and fluffy. And I was in the bathroom, but I had the door open and I have one of those roller brushes ones, and it was steaming a little bit, but that's okay. That's normal. That's what I do at home. Probably bad for my hair. And it goes beep, 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 beep. And I was like, crap, I'm going to have to evacuate DyslexiaCon 2025. I turned it off and it was stopped. I was like,
Well,
oh,
with a
okay.
bang for real.
But my hair is
Looks
fabulous.
Yeah, it looks great. It was well worth it.
Yeah.
So we're here with some very special guests. Our I want to say offenders, but that's not going to work. Our frequent flyers.
Frequent flyer.
Yes. And they're the other dynamic duo,
I mean,
right?
yes.
Yes, the other dyslexia duo for sure. Go ahead and tell everybody who y'all are.
I'm Missy Purcell.
I'm Mallary Lattanze.
Awesome.
And welcome. Okay, so you guys are huge voices out there advocating for everybody. And Missy.
Yeah,
Missy's local in Georgia,
Yes.
and Mallary is in Texas.
Yes, but I'm actually originally from Atlanta, so I have lived.
Kind of home too.
Lived down the street from here. Grew up in the suburbs here. So definitely advocate and support everything that's going on in Georgia. But so it's kind of nice coming back for DyslexiaCon 25 in my home state.
What have you guys learned here that has been super exciting?
The definition. That's been a big
Yeah, the
deal.
definition definitely was the most anticipating thing, at least for me. Missy and I got a little emotional.
Yeah.
It was a relief. They listened. I think when it first came out and they gave us the chance to give feedback, I lost sleep. I was very intentional and I waited to the last minute because I called Missy and I called others and I wanted to hear from them. Like, are we thinking the same way? Am I crazy? What is the best way to give constructive feedback, but also make a very firm point? It took a while. It was like that build up
Yeah.
and the session yesterday before they released the actual revision, or I guess second revision. But I felt heard. I felt that they are moving forward. And I actually got to talk with Charlie afterwards.
Who's Charlie?
Because Charlie, now I can't think of his last name.
Charlie
Thank
Hughes.
you. And so we ran into him later that night, and because he had said something about the data collected of where the voices were coming from. And he said, wow, there's only, I think they said 6% are people who identify being dyslexic or know someone closely with dyslexia. And I came up to him and I said, I giggled because I don't know if you knew, but the survey only allowed you to select one. I actually am someone with dyslexia, but I was writing my feedback through the lens of a dyslexia therapist.
Okay.
And so he said, I had no idea. And so he said the next time they're going to talk about the definition, they're going to kind of reword what they said. But it was a third party, as most people when they give out huge surveys and stuff, and they didn't realize that you could only select one.
Well, didn't they say, because I sat in on that for a little while before I had to come back down here, they said like 63% of the people who commented on the public revision were either dyslexia therapists, practitioners, or dyslexia instructors, or diagnosticians, people in the education world with their hands in it.
Yes.
And I felt like those people, I mean, we have lots of conversations, but
Yes.
I was so grateful because it's one thing to have this conversation, up here in the like the theory and the ideology of all these different voices coming and stakeholders. But it's another thing to be in the trenches where you're sitting in front of children daily who have dyslexia, and you see all the interplay of the things that we know really matter and what we need to do to support students.
Right.
And so I agree. I'm gonna just tell you really quick. I think I might have had like a slight anxiety attack. I saw Charlie too, and I was like, I really kind of felt like that was an unnecessary hour, like the build up.
Yes,
Just put
the
the definition up first.
Yes, because I kept thinking,
We were
get
like
to
holding
it.
hands, like, what is it gonna be?
Because it really, when it got there, I was like, okay, they listened to us. I still
Yes.
think there's some conversations
Yes.
to be had. I mean, I posted it on my channels, like social media channels, and I think the biggest feedback I'm still getting is a little confusion around environmental.
Right.
So I think that's a conversation I think we need to keep
They
having.
did explain that the environmental factors, it's not just necessarily that dyslexia piece, but it's those kids that have that genetic risk already in place.
It's gonna exasperate.
It's going to, yes, it's going to heighten that.
Yes.
You know, with the, yeah.
I am very curious about what the diagnosticians, the anyone in the evaluator role, what their point of view is now, because I read evaluations all day, every day for my job. And so I still see developmental dyslexia. And I feel like I don't know if it will, I'm going to see more of that now.
Yeah.
Because they put environmental, that they're going to say it's developmental. I know, Missy, you can speak as like an advocate. The source of blame now. You know, that's me going way negative.
That was one of my original concerns, was just a little concern around how do we properly make sure schools identify students with dyslexia so they can receive services.
Right.
There's already so many barriers, even with our current definition and the frameworks that we work within a public school setting. And so my goal is that anytime we put out anything guidance, it makes that a little bit less challenging.
Yeah.
But also still maintains the the validity. Like we don't want to misidentify a student.
Right. No, absolutely not.
But we also want to identify properly, because we very much know the power of labels. We talk about this all the time, but I want you to know if it's dyslexia, because there's a profile that I want you to understand.
Right.
And I want you to be empowered by all the truth in that. Right. And then if it's not dyslexia, I want to make sure you get the right supports as well.
You know, as far as the definition is concerned, though, don't you feel as a practitioner, as a therapist, that this really defines the students that sit in front of you? I feel like when I look at the definition, I'm like, yes, I see so many of my students.
Yes.
Because not all of them are the same. I think that touches on the continuum of dyslexia.
The continuum definitely is real. So don't get me wrong. When I say developmental, like dyslexia, that's getting more into the environmental, but there's definitely a continuum for sure. The first one when we were able to get feedback was very wordy. Right. And I think they still had a lot to say, because I wasn't saying take it all out, right? You just need to be more concise. And I think that's what they did. And that's what I think was another beautiful part in this, is that they understood, okay, we said it in a way that did come across wordy and very open to interpretation. Right. And so I do get the buildup of why they did. But what was another beautiful thing is after they posted it, then they broke it down on what this will look like for advocates and parents and specialists. And I said, that actually is even more powerful because, again, they did touch a little bit, and I can't remember their exact words, about they're not in a position to tell the evaluators what to do with it. And that's where my curiosity is I want to hear from evaluators who know dyslexia, who have been doing this for years. What are you thinking right now?
So here's my question. This is the International Dyslexia Association's definition. What's that going to do at the state level? Because I know Texas has their own definition. Are they going to change it? Or are they going to say, okay, our definition is based on this, and we're going to, is it like a cafeteria, pick and choose from what they liked about the IDA definition?
I talked about this with Missy. I went down a rabbit hole, and I went down historical data, historically, how when IDA first came out with definition, 2 years later, IDEA updated it to match IDA. Here we go with the acronyms. Okay. And then when they updated again in 2022, what happened in 2002? I need more coffee. In 2002, when they came out with the updated definition from IDA.
Mhm.
What happened in 2004? IDEA updated it again.
Mhm.
So
It does have an impact.
there's a very real consequence to it affecting state and federal level.
Mhm.
I'm not too I was scared actually with the first revision. I was like, this will affect federal.
Yeah.
Like I really did. And for the states that don't have robust handbooks like Texas,
Right.
that did scare me. And again, it goes back to who does it affect?
Right.
But yes, I do think that people are going to start updating handbooks. I mean, Texas is just updating it like
All the time. All the
Yes.
time. I get one printed out
Yes.
and bound, and they go, "Oh, we have a new revision."
I know that's why they don't get. Mine are just
Georgia's-
PDFs now because the printing.
Yes.
It's going to be 6 months later.
Now, another thing I noticed on the definition was the inclusion of spelling. It said and
Ooh,
I'm
or
so glad about
spelling.
this.
And this
Yeah.
kind of worried me because there are kids that have spelling deficits.
Yes.
It's associated with dysgraphia. That does not mean dyslexia. So they're
Uh-huh.
very clear as dyslexia is blank, blank, blank,
It's
blank,
not a
blank.
spelling disability.
It's not.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So this is that's my huge
Can
concern.
I'm
impact.
so glad you
Yes.
said that. I thought I was alone. Missy
We
Missy
had
knew
this
this. We had this
conversation.
conversation. I specifically, besides the environmental, the biggest thing that bothered me was the or spelling.
Yes.
And I wrote probably a whole page on just that with research. I said, so what does this mean for spelling disability? What does this mean for the umbrella of written expression?
Yes.
I didn't understand because it already kind of bothered me in the first definition, but the and or I get it with the orthographic. They processing, they went into it a little bit,
Right.
but the taking out and I always said, okay, let's just use good grammar skills. Take out the first part and read it with the other part
Right,
after
right.
the or. It is not a spelling disability.
Right. This is that to
Yeah.
me is a huge disservice to a
Yes.
lot of kids that might just have a spelling disability
Mhm.
or dyslexia or
Yes.
dysgraphia.
Dysgraphia.
You know,
Right. Right.
I think that's a very big deal.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. And
Mhm.
and it, on one hand, I will say we see a lot of older kids,
Yeah.
like late identified, twice exceptional
Yep.
kids. The spelling was the persistent red flag that everyone
Mhm.
ignored.
Right.
And then when
Right.
they get evaluated in 8th or 9th grade, we see very poor morphological processing.
And the reason for
Yes.
the spelling with the older kids, because older kids aren't necessarily reading out loud as much in
Uh-huh.
the classroom as you hear the little guys
Very
do.
true.
Yes.
Right. And so teachers are seeing it in their writing and in their spelling, and that's how they get the identification. And then later they go, "Oh, well, they've been just stumbling along in their reading.
Right.
We had no idea."
Yes.
And in the first definition, but before the revision, didn't it say something to the effect of it may or may not impact
Yes.
spelling?
Yes.
And
I
I
think it's
thought
a better
that
way to
was a
put it.
better way to say that.
Yeah,
Because
it was part
not
of
all
the secondary
dyslexic kids have that
consequences.
severe spelling deficit
Mhm.
either. So some
Mhm.
people say, "Oh well, it can't be dyslexia because they don't have a severe spelling deficit." I have a child who has severe dyslexia, but his spelling is actually pretty good because he has a very good visual memory.
Yes, the high working memory will affect the scores for spelling. And talking about older kids, I see that. If I go, so I look at the CTOP, I'll look at the GORD. I'm like, okay, here's your dyslexic profile. And then I go to spelling and I'm like, oh, it's average or above.
Yeah.
I go back to where I saw working memory. I'm like, it makes sense. They have overcompensated. They are coping. But that doesn't tell me, even though that score is average or above average, will tell me they really don't know how to spell.
Right.
Right,
They don't.
Right.
They've memorized it.
right.
Mhm.
Yes.
So
Because that visual piece.
Yes, exactly.
I want y'all to tell me what's your session about today.
So she's speaking.
Well,
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
going to be actually with a group of Dakota Dyslexia
Uh-huh.
groups from all the states.
Yeah.
And we will be just doing a round table of topics. And so we're talking about, you brought it up, the Georgia Dyslexia Handbook,
Uh-huh.
which does include the current definition.
Right.
So it'll need to be updated, I'm sure, as well. But we're excited because we just got a revision too. Because we got a bill passed in the spring, so it
Yeah.
caused revisions for this back in July. So there's some great things, and there's some things I just think we need to be aware of. I think this
Yeah.
is a good reminder too. You from the advocate voice over here, you got to stay in it.
Yes.
You got to pay attention to what's getting updated.
Right.
whether it's a definition or a handbook or a guidance, and then think about how does that impact kids or the kids I work with or what I see every day? And is it going to help me help them better, or is it going to become an obstacle?
And I think this whole thing with the definition, more than anything, we have to consider each student and not kind of line them up with their siblings or kids that we've had in the past. We need to look at each student as an individual piece of the puzzle. That's the biggest thing. We can never forget that.
Love that.
Did you already do a session?
No, so I've been very busy because I am president of the Houston branch of IDEA.
That's right.
So I've been in a lot of required meetings, but it's been so beautiful. I was telling people yesterday, I have felt so united being together with all the other presidents of IDEA, and just we are very much for the mission. We are very much for doing more in our states. And Texas has 3 branches. So it's great to get together with Austin and with Dallas. But I've besides the impending definition reveal, being together with all the other presidents, and then Georgia brought their whole team because they're here, and meeting them and hearing.
They're pretty cool.
They are. Shout out to Georgia IDA. But where we voiced a concern, and then another state that's not even close to Texas is yes, I hear you. We're doing, and it's oh my gosh, I keep feeling the word is unified. I felt very unified here at this conference with all of them, because yes, this is the international conference, but the boots on the ground are those branches. And I'm very proud of what Houston has done, what we're going to be doing. So that's been really, really nice being here, but that's kept me busy. And then the third thing is, because I am an admin at an LD independent school, the ALDS group here. So the Association of Learning Disability Schools came together. We've done school tours here, which have been amazing, but hearing from them and what they're doing and how they learn from IDA. So I've been a busy girl with 3 hats.
Yeah, you've got a lot going on.
It's very, I'm leaving fulfilled and joyful.
Awesome.
And speaking of that, my session starts at 9:30.
Okay, we'll wrap it up. We'll wrap it up. But it's always so nice to have both of y'all with us. So, hey, maybe we should plan an extended session again later on in the year.
Yes.
And we'll make sure the dogs are involved again.
Yes.
And if you know what we're talking about, you should listen to our episode and
There
you'll find out.
Wow. Beautiful.
Nice callback.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. We really appreciate it. And we'll see or hear or something from y'all after a while. Bye.
Lovely. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
No worries. That was good.
That was perfect. Okay. You go.